Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday and happy July. I can't believe it. We have moved into another month. Almost time to celebrate the 4th of July. I hope you guys are all doing well today. So say hello as you pop on. I would love to hear from everybody who's tuning in. Tell me what your 4th of July plans are. If you have big plans, are you traveling or do you do a barbecue or some kind of party at your house, or just kind of enjoy a relaxing day in your craft room maybe? That's an awesome way to spend a holiday as well. So I would love to hear. I am getting excited for a day off, and we're gonna just enjoy some time swimming probably and eating all the good foods and having fun in the sun. So I think the weather is supposed to be nice. It's been unusually cool around here lately. I think the high yesterday was 70, which was interesting for the end of June, but I'm not going to argue with that. It was beautiful. The sun was still shining, and it was just almost like a fall day in early July. So yes, let me see who we have joining us today, and I'm going to say hi as you hop on, and then we're going to get to it because it is Tuesday, and that means another TE release. So we have some fun stuff to share with you guys today, and I'm super excited about it. So looks like I'm having some trouble getting comments up, so they are not populating for me. Oh, here it goes. I think hopefully they start to pop in here and I can say hi to some people. Here we go. Sue says, in Texas, we stay in the pool for the 4th of July. I can imagine. Hi, Mary from Washington State. Vicky, right next door in Altoona. Hi, Debbie. Still camping. That's awesome. A good activity for 4th of July holiday weekend for sure. Hello, Deneen. Ooh, that's fun. Headed out to the butcher shop to pick up 2 large coolers of meat for my husband to smoke for the 4th. That sounds wonderful. When can I come over? My husband loves burnt ends. I don't know if that's something that you smoke or that your husband smokes, but sounds yummy. Hi, Jamie. Oh, good morning from Southern California. Enjoying the cool weather out there. Hi, Sherry. Hello, Anne in Southern Utah. Susan's here from Redondo Beach. You guys are in all the fun places with the ocean. Hello, Belinda. And Debbie's here today. Super hot in southwestern Utah today. Well, hello, Debbie, again from Sioux Falls. And Essie is here. Well, yes, I know lots of you are probably going to enjoy a long weekend. You might have Friday off as well. I think I'm going to be back in the office on Friday, but we've got lots of fun things coming for you guys, and so I've got some things to tie up. But I am super excited for the 4th. Like I said, we're going to celebrate outside with family and just have some fun. I think on Wednesday, our kids and John are headed to a water park a couple hours away. One of the big ones. I don't know if those of you in Iowa might have heard of Lost Island in Waterloo. So that's where the kids are heading tomorrow with John. So that should be fun. But all right, should we get to it today? I am so excited to kind of introduce you to the suite of products that we have launched today at 9 o'clock. You might have already seen them if you've been paying attention to the sneak peeks on the fan page. Those go up on Saturday, and then also this morning, the products launched at 9 a.m. Central Time. So maybe you've already seen them, but I hope I have something to share that might be a little bit new to you because the products we're introducing need a little explanation because, as you know, at TE, we like to come up with things that make card making easy. And I think that's what we've done with a term that we have coined ourselves as happy half sheets. You might be familiar with an old stamping technique called the one sheet wonder. Raise your hand if you are familiar with that. Well, this is Taylor's version of the one sheet wonder. It's a happy half sheet. So I'm excited to tell you guys some more about what that means if you haven't heard about it. You might have heard about it if you were part of our Stamp Joy virtual event earlier this spring, because this is one of the products that we launched for early release and kind of shared during our make and take sessions on how to create a happy half sheet. What is it and how do you do it? So we're gonna learn that today. If you have not done it before, I'm excited to share it with you. And even if you have, maybe you can learn something new as well. Okay, let's get to looking down in front of me. So the whole idea with a happy half sheet is to create lots of cards all at one time. You get the ability to create your own patterned paper and then cut that into various measurements to create different layouts. So a lot of these cards, as I pick them up, you'll see that they all kind of coordinate with each other, and we'll go through how the designers created these using the products that we are releasing today. So before we get to all of these new goodies though, I want to share with you, because it's the first live of July. I haven't seen you guys yet in July, so I want to share with you the July freebies that we have. And we're going to do that before we get into the new release. So, as you know, if you have been hanging out with us so far this year, you know that we are kind of following along with a theme. Every single order that is placed at Tailored Expressions gets a little order freebie. And this year we have done that in this way in our Pretty Postage collection. So we have a new postage that's coming out. We're starting that second half of the year with our July Pretty Postage, and I'm going to open it up for you. When you get this, this is what it looks like. It comes with the small sticker that shows the imagery of the stamp. So you can place your sticker down onto your collection card. These cards are available for purchase separately. They are in the Tailored Expressions web store, so if you don't have one yet, you can grab that. And then you can just place that sticker down in the corresponding month. And then, of course, your stamps get stored on the back. So this month for July, the order freebie is this cute little ice cream cone inside of our postage frame. We also have some other dies that go along with this collection called the Pretty Postage dies, and those will do things like cut out the frames. They also cut out the middle portion if you want to combine that with one of the die cut frames. There's some great pieces in that die set that will help you get lots of use out of these cute little postage stamps. Then you're going to pull this backing off of the stamp, and that will expose the cling mount here, and that's what allows it to stick to the back of your laminated header card. So there it is. We have our Pretty Postage collection that is continuing into July, and then we also have our order freebie for orders of $100 or more. And that started yesterday on July 1st. We have the beautiful layering stencil that is called Summer Nights. It makes this pretty pattern that you see over here. It's 4 layers, and it is designed to fit on an A2 size card. So if you want that to go all the way to the edge, it will on a card base, or you can cut it down as Jill did on all of these samples. After you have blended it, you can go ahead and cut that into whatever size you want. But let's take a look at how pretty these are. Love this color combo. Looks like she used some spearmint, blue raspberry. I wonder if there's a color combo card somewhere. I don't see one. We've got pineapple to Dijon on that pretty hello sentiment that she used. And the postage stamp stacklets cut out the panel once she was done. So I think that one is really unique, fun color combination. Then we have these two that you may have seen on our fan page when this launched, but these are kind of unique, and they've had lots of questions about how did she do that, and I think it's really fun. She did say, when I chatted with her about these, she said it's definitely a time commitment to do this technique, because what you have to do is choose your dark colored cardstock that you want to stencil on, and then you're going to take each layer of the stencil. Obviously, you can only blend 1 layer at a time, and you're going to first blend sugar cube ink through the stencil layer, and then of course you're going to clean it off, put it back in place, and then you'll stencil your colors over the top of the Sugar Cube ink. So Sugar Cube is a pigment ink, and it sits on top of the cardstock so that when you place that other color down on top of the darker cardstock, it's actually sitting on top of the white, so it doesn't soak into the dark layer and lose its intensity. So it's a really fun technique to try. It is important that after you blend the Sugar Cube layer, that you let it dry before you put the colored layer over the top. And you can even hit it with a heat tool just to speed the process along, but that is why creating like this is a little bit of a time commitment, because there are 4 layers and you have to do each one individually and make sure your colors are dry before continuing on with that colored layer. But I think they turned out so pretty and definitely worth a try. Might be something fun to try first with a single layer stencil and just see how you like the technique. And we've done that at some of our events before too, to show that technique that you can do with the ink sitting on top of the Sugar Cube. So I love that. Okay, so those are your freebies for the month of July. Orders of 100 or more get the layering stencil, and then every order we have our ice cream postage stamp. So let's get to talking through the new release that just launched today. And I am going to start with the Happy Half Sheets, because that is what this release is really built upon. Like I mentioned earlier, we did release some of these products for Virtual Stamp Joy. Some of them were in your goodie bag if you attended, so everybody will have that one, and I'll make mention of that. And then some of them were part of the early release. So if you shopped during our Virtual Stamp Joy early release, then you may already have some of these things. So Happy Half Sheets. What is a Happy Half Sheet? Well, like I said, this is the name I came up with, kind of based on the old technique that we used to call One Sheet Wonder, where you would take an entire piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, stamp it with typically solid imagery of your choice, and then cut it up into various pieces to create several card layouts. So in my mind, I created a lot of One Sheet Wonders in my day, and it seems a little overwhelming. And so I decided to come up with Happy Half Sheets, because I feel happier with a half sheet. And the idea is that you would take a half sheet of your 8.5 by 11 cardstock, stamp it all up with your imagery, and then we have given you the map that you need in order to cut out the pieces and achieve the different layouts. So I'm actually going to pull this one here. This is the one that we will be using today. This is volume 2, and I'll show you. So on one side you have your Happy Half Sheet. So it is a laminated card, so it's really nice and sturdy. You can use it over and over again, and this is your actual measurement of a half sheet of cardstock. I have one here, so we're going to take this and you can place it on there. You can either follow the measurements that are posted on each of these laminated cards when you cut them apart, or if you don't like measurements and numbers, you can take your pencil and you can kind of mark the tick marks where you are supposed to cut these on each of the sides, and then you can create your own kind of template for cutting these apart. Now these are color coded to coordinate with the layouts on the back side, so that you can see number 1 is layout 1, number 2 is layout 2, and we've just given you suggestions on how to lay these out. Of course, you can take this in a lot of different directions. So if you wanted to use these 2 strips and put them on the same card with a little space in between, you could do that, and that would just eliminate one of your layouts. So each of these Happy Half Sheet layouts is going to get you 4 to 5 cards. In the volume 1, so that's the original version here, there are 5 patterned or laminated maps, and they all create A2 size cards. So the second volume 2, which is brand new today, includes the one that I just showed you, that we'll be doing in the crafty portion of the live today. That one layout creates mini slim cards, and the rest of them are A2 size. So that's what this gives you. And the value in this is that everything is figured out for you. You have color inspiration on the back. You have obviously layout inspiration, and all the thinking is sort of done ahead of time for you. So you get to enjoy picking out your colors, stamping your patterned piece, cutting it apart, and then creating these layouts. I'm going to show you how you can add extra items to these to jazz them up a little bit, or if you really just like to create kind of quick, easy cards, you can just follow these layouts and make them really, really simple. So that's the idea behind Happy Half Sheets. And again, they are laminated so you can use them over and over. They're not like our other TE maps, like the Easy Strips maps and that kind of thing, where you're actually using the piece on your project and then you're consuming it, so you need to restock it. These can be used over and over. Again, they're laminated, and you can just basically follow the instructions that are all figured out for you. Some of our designers have stepped in and created Happy Half Sheets in this volume 2. So volume 1, Susan Block and I created all of the layouts in this one. And then in volume 2, you will notice that there are names on each of the layouts as to who created them. And I'm going to pull this one up so you can see the mini slim one that we'll be doing today is the one that I designed, but there is one in here from Lori. There's one from Debbie, one from Heather, and one from Susan. I think, did I get everyone? No, Jill, not Susan. Jill, Debbie, Heather, Lori, and myself created the half sheet layouts in volume 2. So really fun, lots of opportunity for embellishing and creating your own. We've just given you the tool that you need to get started. So volume 1 was available during Stamp Joy early release. Volume 2 is new today. Let me put this up on the screen now that we've talked about what in the world Happy Half Sheets are. Let's talk about the bundle that we have. So traditionally at Tailored Expressions, July is a time when we celebrate Christmas in July. I know that's something that you will see probably everywhere. I think lots of stores actually start to put out their Christmas stuff in July. And so we have what we're calling the Make It Merry bundle. We have created a new stamp set with coordinating dies called Make It Merry. And then in that bundle, you also get volume 2 of the Happy Half Sheets. So kind of everything you need to get started with Happy Half Sheets. Plus, when you purchase the bundle, you get a free cardstock pack with your purchase. The cardstock includes 2 half sheets, one in sugar cube and one in toffee, and then 10 side fold card bases. So let me show you what the bundle looks like, and we'll give you an introduction to the brand new Make It Merry stamp set with coordinating dies. So here are the 3 products in the bundle. You have your Make It Merry stamp set, and you have your coordinating dies. So if you want to create cards that are not patterned in nature, you can cut out the imagery, arrange it into fun kind of scenes or however you choose, and then you will have a card that way. So if you're not into the idea of creating your own patterned paper, this stamp set is still going to be really fun and versatile, and I will show you some samples that the designers created that do not include the Happy Half Sheet idea. So that is the Make It Merry. And then this bundle of cardstock then, this is everything you need to create in the Happy Half Sheet style. So we have 2 pieces of cardstock, 1 sugar cube and 1 toffee that can be used to stamp your half sheet paper. And then you'll cut that apart to create between 4 and 5 layouts depending on which half sheet you're using, and you can put those onto the A2 card bases that we have cut and scored for you, so they're all ready to go. So you have enough here to create 10 cards using the Make It Merry stamp set and whatever half sheet you choose. So I love seeing people's comments about, yep, I have my hand up. I remember One Sheet Wonders. And so yes, I'm excited to just give this a little bit different spin and hopefully make it even more simple for you guys who are creating with this. So let's take a look at some of the happy half sheets that were created with the Make It Merry set. So this set of 4 cards was created by Heather. You can probably tell she's got her toffee cardstock that she stamped on, and this is also up on our YouTube channel, so she's going to talk you through how she created these using the happy half sheet map that she designed herself. So they're very simple. All she added in here was the holly and the wood grain. There is a wood grain background that when I pull this up into the light a little bit better, hopefully you can see that knock on wood that she stamped tone on tone. And then she just used those same sentiments that are in the Make It Merry stamp set. So another thing you will notice, if you've checked out the category today so far, we have a new ink bundle for you guys. We're doing these ink bundles, especially as we have a lot of new customers who are kind of grabbing our inks as they are able. It's kind of nice to have ink combos that you know will look good together or that you want to use for a specific project. So we have a couple of ink bundles today. We have the mini ink cubes and then the full size inks in this color combination of cilantro, jalapeno, mulled wine, and honey, which is what Heather used on her cards. So another great way to keep collecting TE inks is to grab those ink bundles while you're shopping for the happy half sheets. So there's one, and kind of on the other end of the spectrum, we have this beautiful set of cards from Lori Craig, but these are bright and cutesy and whimsical color combination for Christmas. She's using our new pear color, which I think is really fun. And then the layouts that she featured are part of her map that she created for volume 2. You can see there are some fun and unique layout ideas. This one I think is really fun, how it is a full A2 size card, but the actual card portion is only 4 1/4 square. So I think that's kind of unique part of one of Lori's half sheet layouts. Then let's see, what else? These are the ones that I will be creating with you today on the live, and I did, as I mentioned, the mini slim layouts. There's one more around here somewhere. Here it is. So this particular half sheet layout creates 5 different mini slim cards, and I embellished them with different die cuts and background stamps and other things to just give them a little bit of extra pizzazz. Of course, we've got rainbow rhinestones on there, which I think make them really fun. And I went with a bright color combination as well. So we're going to get into that a little bit later when we craft together. But then I did promise I was going to show you how some of the designers used these stamps and the coordinating dies to create cards that don't necessarily have to use the half sheet maps. So on this cute card, Lori did use the stamps to create a background piece, but also just die cut those elements and piece them together on the focal part of this card, which I think is really, really cute. Super cute, Lori. Okay, so let's talk then. Those are the new products for this release. If you were part of Stamp Joy Virtual, then you already have this, but it is now available for purchase if people were not part of that event. It's called Bits and Blooms, and it's the stamp with the coordinating die. We did use this stamp set during Stamp Joy to create a happy half sheet, so you're probably familiar with this concept if you attended. And I do have some projects here. I've got a new set from Emily Midlowski that uses this particular stamp set with the happy half sheet concept. So let me spread these out here for you. I love how she got 2 different shades of the Concord grape, by just stamping it and then stamping it again without re-inking it. Let me pull this up here so you can see this is the same ink as this one. This is just the first generation of stamping, and then this is the second generation, which I think is a really fun way to get the most out of your inking and stamping when you're doing these. So I love that you can do that with the Concord Grape. She also added in some different background stamps. She used the splatter background. We have our weathered wood background to create this set of fun cards. This would make a great gift too if you're looking for nice gift idea to give a set of cards. You have just created 5 really cute, simple cards super quickly. So that's Bits and Blooms. And that was part of the goodie bag. So if you were at Stamp Joy Virtual this spring, then you already have that one. Now this next one I'm going to show you was part of the early release. This is Fresh Foliage, and it is a stamp and die combo. So the dies actually come with the stamps in this set. And this one is very similar to the Bits and Blooms, except for it's all greenery. And we added in a couple of little dots, butterflies, and flowers for the background, but the majority of the imagery that's going to take up your patterning is leafy. So let's take a look at some of the samples created with this. Susan used the same half sheet map that we'll be using when we craft together today. This is the one that creates mini slim cards. You can see she also stamped on toffee. I love the beautiful color combination that she used. I believe that's blue corn, blue cheese, green tea, and maybe spearmint, I want to say. I think it's so pretty. And I love how these turned out with the Hello Lovely is the name of the sentiment set that she used. All right, let's see. Let's show you one more, and then we're gonna get to crafting together. Oh, I lied. I have more than one more sample, and I can't miss sharing any samples. So, okay, this one is from Jill, and this uses Jill's happy half sheet layout. So you're seeing samples from another option in that map design. And these cards, I love this color combination. I wonder if she put it anywhere for me. I always check on Jill's because she's notorious for putting little post-it notes inside. Oh, here we go. Last one that I opened. So these are Jill's colors that she used on this card, and I think they're so unique and fun with this particular stamp set. So even if you don't want to go the greenery route, you can get creative and stamp this greenery in pinks and teals and blues like Jill did on this one. So I think that's really fun. Okay, now I did say I was going to share cards, and I have a couple of them here where these elements are used individually without the happy half sheet idea. So if you like this Fresh Foliage set, you can see it works great with the mason jar that came out earlier this year as a little gathering of flowers and leaves inside the jar. This one is from Emily Midlowski. I love that she used the wonky stitched stacklets on the outside. That just kind of brings your eye right to the center and gives you a little something on the outside for texture. So there's one option. Then I do have a couple more to share using elements from the Bits and Blooms set to create these 2 cute cards. So again, stamp them, cut them out, arrange them however you want, and it's just a really beautiful floral set. So there you have it. Okay, so should we get to crafting? I have lots of tips and tricks to share when it comes to happy half sheets. I think there are definitely things that you can do to be more successful. So if you've tried this in the past and you haven't been happy with how your pattern turned out, then I hope you'll listen up and maybe get a few tips and tricks for how to balance your paper with color and pattern. And then of course we're going to cut it apart and create as well. So I'm going to pull in this one map here. This is the one we're going to be referencing today. And like I showed you before, you can see how the numbers correspond with the different layouts and the colors. So they're both color coded and numbered for you. And we are going to, I'll show you this one more time too. When we get to cutting this apart, this blue line all the way around the outside is actually the actual size of a half sheet of cardstock. So once you stamp your half sheet, you can even use this as a guide for where to begin cutting by putting little pencil marks, or you can follow the measurements along the top and the side. Okay, so let's start by stamping. I am going to use the new Make It Merry set. And when you're first thinking about starting your half sheet, it is just a blank canvas. And so my first tip is to start with the largest image that you're going to be stamping on your background. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because if you were to start with the smallest and then try to go to the largest, you would have trouble fitting in that large image by the time you've stamped all the small ones. So really it's a matter of starting with the biggest and then moving and filling in the white space with the smaller images. I do all of this with a block. So it is a little bit of a technique or maybe a refresher on how to use acrylic blocks, just because it's easier to move more quickly. And if you make a mistake, I will almost 100% guarantee you, once you're done with the whole thing and you've cut it up and you've put it on your card, you're not going to see that mistake because you filled in all the little areas. You can even cover those little boo-boos with the sentiment or with little embellishments as well. So you want to make sure to avoid mistakes. You want to make sure that you are really inking your stamp well, because the number one mistake you can make is not getting the ink on your stamp and then not stamping the image perfectly consistently. So just make sure that you get lots of ink on your stamp. And then I'm going to start, just kind of pick a spot. I'm using Mint Julep is the color of the Christmas tree that I'm using, and I'm just going to start kind of varying where I place those, rotating the block in my hand as I go. And then my next tip for you is to make sure that you are running your images off the side of your cardstock. It's harder when you try to keep all of your imagery inside the boundaries. It doesn't quite look like a full pattern. And then when you get to cutting them apart and placing them down on your cards, you can sometimes have open spaces. So I usually try to run them off of the side. You can even go in different kind of angles. And having an idea of how many other images you're going to try to fit around these will sort of give you a guideline for how far apart to stamp these. The other thing is you can always come back and add more. So to start with, less is more. Don't try to get them too cramped and close together. You want to leave space for those smaller images. So there we have the Mint Julep that we did with the large tree. So that's my largest image. My next image that I'm going to use, so I also have this tall tree and then I have a stocking. So the tall tree obviously is taller than this image, and this one is fatter than this image. So which one's your bigger one? Well, I'm going to go ahead and use the tall tree because I think it'll fit in nicely kind of next to and around the triangular space of the other tree. So as we stamp as well, before I get another color on here, I want to point out, as you're moving through and stamping, try to think of your images as connecting in triangles. So if you think about, I've stamped 3 images here. There's a triangle. There's 3 images, triangle. 3 images, triangle. So as you are trying to come up with a pleasing layout, think of stamping your imagery in triangles. Hopefully that makes sense, what I pointed out. And obviously, as with anything else that you do, the more you do this, the better you will be at it. So it's just like everything in life, you practice and you will improve. So don't give up. That's another piece of advice. Just keep swimming. That's what Susan and I like to say here. Just keep swimming. Okay. Sometimes rotating again your stamps so that you're not ending up with images that all go in the same direction, because then when you cut that apart and place it down onto your layout, you kind of want it to have that varied, whimsical feel to it. So I'm going to stamp a couple little parts off the edge here just to give us something there. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. So let's move on. That was confetti cake with the taller tree. Now we're going to use the stocking, and my color for this is cupcake. So another thing to consider is the colors that you're choosing for the images. If I had chosen my darkest color for the biggest item, that would be the most noticeable part of the patterned paper. Not that you can't do that. Let me see if I can find a sample here. Here you go. So this one, Emily used the darkest color for her largest image, but she also added in the second generation of that same ink color so that you're not completely overwhelmed by dark purple, especially since it's that largest image in the background. So kind of think about what your eye is going to be drawn to in the background, and maybe that can sort of guide your color selection as you go. So I'm going to put in a few more of these because we're really trying to fill in our pattern now. And then from here, it's kind of mostly small imagery. We do have the candy cane to get in there as well. Let me turn this around and we'll do one that's kind of on the side here. Okay. Feel pretty good about that. Anything else? Again, I can add more later, so I'm going to stop before I overcrowd, and then we'll come in with that candy cane. Now this is a smaller image, and so I'm using a darker color. We're going to use the lollipop for that. And these little guys can start to fit in the open spaces that are left here. Hopefully this is fun to watch the pattern come together, and it's not boring like watching paint dry. I always get worried when I do these kind of techniques that take a little while that y'all are just out there wishing for me to move it along. So I'm going to start getting kind of small in the corners here. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that alone now. We're getting there. I have a few more images. So I have one that is a collection of 3 stars. I'm going to do that in blue raspberry, which is going to be kind of the same color intensity as the lollipop. So I chose a little bit smaller image since my candy cane was bigger and darker. Now we're going to come in with a little bit smaller image with the darker blue ink. And I'm just trying to fill in the open spaces here. One of the things I really liked about Heather's, if I can pull her samples back in here, she actually overlapped her images, which I thought was really clever, and it made you kind of not look for everything to be super perfected. So her candy cane overlapped there. She has the white sugar cube ink that she used with the stars and snowflakes, and those are overlapping other images as well. So don't get too concerned. You can kind of experiment with, if you're better at doing the overlap and you can't quite get them all evenly spaced, then just do an intentional overlap and it's going to look cute as well. So okay, a little bit up there. I think we're going to stop there. I've got 2 more colors left. So I have Cookie Monster is going to be my next color, and we're going to do that in kind of the asterisk looking snowflake image. And again, just trying to fill in what is left of the open space. We've got options for little stamps to fit in these spaces if I feel like I'm crowding images. I can remember that I still have a star. And we're going to do that in pink. So I've done blue here for a little while. And our star is going to be pink. We're getting there. I keep saying we're getting there, but every one that I add, it makes it come together just a little bit more. And then I think kind of knowing when to be done is another part of this. So this here is, let me turn my ink pad over. This is Strawberry Milkshake, and I have the single star. And when I'm stamping these, especially with small images, I like to use my opposite other hand just kind of as a guide as I'm looking for a spot to land that. And then as I press it down, I seem to have good luck with getting a nice image when I have that extra guide hand to help me. Okay, I think I'm going to clean this stamp, and then I'm going to come back in a few of my open areas, and I'm going to stamp those with the same color that I used on the trees. Or maybe, actually, I think I'll come in with Cupcake, the lighter pink color. So this is going to be my last stamp here. In just a couple of the open spaces so that I don't have 2 darker pink stars right next to each other. Okay, we did it. What color is the candy cane, Tina? That was Lollipop. So let me pull in all of the colors that I used here now that I'm done with the background. Might have gone a little bit overboard, but I think using more colors kind of makes the pattern come together, and you don't see just that one color. One color doesn't overwhelm your pattern when you use lots of coordinating colors. So those are the colors that I used to create the background. Now we get to do the fun of cutting it apart. I did stamp over my paper onto my glass mat, so I'm going to take a quick second here just to wipe this so we don't get it on anything. All right, so here's our half sheet then. I need my paper trimmer and I need my map. So as I mentioned before, depending on how you prefer to do this, you could take and place your piece of cardstock right inside that blue line, shifting it slightly down. You can use a pencil to mark where these cuts are intended, and then you'd shift it this way and you'd kind of mark here. And then you can visually follow the guide with your pencil markings. So that's an option because this is printed at scale. Or you can take your sheet and you can follow the measurements on here, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 3 inches is my first cut across the top here. So we have that piece. And then I'm going to line up the top left of that rectangle and the bottom right across my cut line, and I'm going to cut this into 2 separate triangles. And there isn't really a measurement for this, it's just lining up those opposite edges and cutting that apart. So there's our first part, and I'm just going to take and place that down here. Then this is the rest of my sheet. You kind of want to make sure that you're keeping it, I don't want to turn this and accidentally cut it the wrong direction because I want these pieces to kind of continue on in the correct way. So now I'm going to take and cut these bottom pieces off here. I have a 1 1/4 and another 1 1/4. So that's here. And here. One 1/4 and 1 1/4. Okay, now we have this last piece left, which fits right in here. I'm going to take 2 1/2 on the top, and then I'm going to do 1 1/4. And then I am going to finish with 3/4. 3/4 can get a little bit difficult because there's no guide to push up against at the top. So I'm just going to hold that down while I push the cardstock. So on the map, this piece is listed as an extra. So you can toss that. You can use it on something else if you want, and then these are the other 3 pieces that match our map. Now let's take and move these off, and we're going to turn this over, and we're going to follow the layouts on the back of the map. So I have just repositionable adhesive because I want to show you guys how these layouts all make mini slim cards. But I'm going to go ahead and take them off later and embellish them a little bit more so that they look more similar to the other cards that I created here by stamping an additional background and adding extra pieces like vellum circles and die cut strips and those kind of things. So we'll make one card together here today, but I am going to place all of these onto a card base just so that you can see how that is designed to go together. So we've got the repositionable adhesive. So there's layout number 1. Oh, actually this is layout number 2, sorry. One is up at the top, and it's the other part of that triangle cut. Of course, if you like the way your project lays out better, you can turn it this way and make them both the same. You don't have to do them different, but that's how they're shown on the map. So go ahead and put that one down. Then we have number 3. 3 is a vertical piece, so we can decide if we like this one up the side or this one. I think because my trees are a little more upright, I'm going to do this one on the side like this, and then this one across the bottom like this. I'm going to set this one up at the top here because this is what we're going to, no, actually I don't think it is this one. Sorry, it's this one, maybe. I'll figure that out in a second. And then the 5th and final layout here takes these 3 pieces and turns them. And then you have 3 cuts that you can space apart so that you see that little bit of strawberry milkshake card base through the background. And you want to, the idea is that you would make sure that your pattern looks like it matches up. You've just cut it and scooched it apart. And that kind of still gives the illusion of being a full piece of card or patterned paper, but you've cut it and done something kind of a unique layout with it. So there are the 5 layouts as shown on this particular map. And now we're going to create a card together just so that I can get one of these checked off as finished. And I'm going to take the one that we did. Let me see. I actually put this on the wrong colored card base to demonstrate with, but let's go ahead and take this one. This piece is going to come down at the bottom here. But what I did on a lot of these is just added extra little details. So there are several background stamps. I used wonky grid, ticks and tacks. I used playful plaid on this one. And then this one I used zigs and zags. So you can really add extra by cutting your cardstock, stamping it with a background, and then layering that piece that you cut from your patterned sheet over the top. So let's make this one together. I'm going to use that wonky grid background stamp. It was released during our For Him release earlier this year, and it has become one of my favorites for just about every, it's very generic, which makes it versatile for lots of occasions. And I'm going to take my piece of hot pink. This is our lollipop cardstock that I cut down to 3 by 5.5, which is the same measurement as what we cut this first rectangle. So then I know my triangle is going to fit perfectly on there. Whoop, whoop. I'm knocking ink pads over. All right, so we'll put that down on the background stamp. And then I'll put a little bit of adhesive here so that when I close this, it's going to pick the paper up right where I want it. And then we're going to use the coordinating ink to stamp tone on tone. So there's the lollipop ink. Pam, I don't know if your question got answered already, but I saw that you had asked whether at Stamp Joy, you received the actual guide. You did not receive the actual map at Stamp Joy. You would have had to purchase those maps during the early release, but we did just give you kind of the instructions on how to create one of them during our make and take sessions. But you did have the option to purchase the laminated maps during Stamp Joy. All right, so here we go. Got a little bit that didn't quite get pushed down, so I'm just going to close it one more time and push a little bit harder. There we go. That's perfect. Now we can adhere this towards the bottom. I'm going to use my glue press. That should stretch all the way across the bottom. Looks like my pink piece is maybe a little bit, just a smidge longer on this side. So I'll get my paper trimmer out and just cut that off. I'm sure I measured them the same, and just with the paper cutter didn't quite get that little smidge off there. So there we have that piece, and that is going to get adhered down to our mini slim card base. Mini slim card bases are 3.5 by 6. I thought I said that wrong, but it is on here for you on the half sheet map in case you forget that. I know it's an easy one to lose track of because we don't make mini slim cards as often as we make A2, but I have that here. 3.5 by 6 is the measurement, and I'm going to pop this piece up on the background. I've got my foam strips that can go down 2 of the sides, and then we'll just do this little fringing that I do here to cut off a little bit more foam tape for the bottom part of the panel. The sentiments in this set are really useful for these particular layouts, and so they are actually included on the layouts. If you want to use the sentiments in the Make It Merry set, you can, or you can use something you have from another set. I get really quiet when I'm trying to align something. The other thing I did on a lot of the projects that I finished was use these Easy Strips patterns. These are the 1/4 inch patterns, and they die cut a pattern into the strip. So these are some that I had left over. You can see the pattern in there is just kind of pressed into the paper, and then I can use these to create a little bit of separation between my pattern and my background. It might have been a good idea to adhere this before I put that down, but I think since we popped it up, there's enough space for me to get under here and just trim that off. All right. And then we'll adhere that down. I stamped an extra tree and die cut it with the mint julep ink, and I didn't want the bottom of my tree to get lost in my pattern paper, so I'm just going to adhere it to another die cut tree from mint julep cardstock so that the bottom of my tree has a little bit more definition against the pattern paper that we created. Okay, so that's going to go right here. Then another little tip to make really simple cards stand out, I am going to be stacking my die cuts. So I have, let's see, looks like I got a little smudgy ink on these, but guess what? That doesn't matter because we are going to stack them behind the stamped and die cut piece. And that just gives your sentiments that extra little bit of lift and dimension, and kind of makes your project look even classier, I think. So it's an extra step, and it's not hard to do. It's just plain white cardstock. A lot of times I use scrap. This is how I use my scrap up, by just cutting extra die or extra sentiment dies out of my plain cardstock. Whenever we have maybe a product that we test and it didn't pass inspection or needed changes, we'll put that in our pile of scrap to use for this type of occasion. And then when you're finished stacking your plain die cuts, you take your stamped version and put it on top, and then you have, it's a lot easier too than using foam tape behind these pieces that are thinner as well. And it gives you that nice, sturdy, thick die cut sentiment. So we'll go ahead and put this down next. I'm just gonna glue it on there. I've already popped up this piece, so I don't need to pop up a lot more. Right about here. And then my happy holidays is gonna come overlap the tree just a little bit. And then we'll do our next, or our final step. Gotta make sure I'm holding this down in place there for just a second. Okay, now my last step, I'm going to use these cute little rainbow rhinestones on the Christmas tree. There are dots on here, just white, open white spaces, and I thought that would be a cute way to just add kind of little twinkle lights, ornaments, if you will. And dump a few out here. I know Sue designed the make and take down in the studio today, and she used these rainbow rhinestones for the make and take, and that's what kind of tipped me off, because these rainbow rhinestones, I haven't grabbed for them for a while for whatever reason, but they go really nicely with this, the cutesiness of this stamp set imagery, and the color combination kind of pulls it all together. You just have to make sure you pick up the rhinestone when it's the right side up. And we'll end with purple. There it is. So cute, right? All right, I'll bring in the rest of them so you have another look at these all together. There they are. 5 cards, super fast. And again, if you don't want to do all the extras with the background stamps and the die cut strips, you don't have to. You would still end up with a really fun and simple set of cards. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What do you think of happy half sheets? I have to admit that I've been coaching myself all week, all month, ever since we came out with happy half sheets. I've been coaching myself to enunciate happy half sheets, because when we say it fast, it comes out, you try it at home too, but it comes out happy half sheets. So if you ever say happy half sheet at home, think of me, because I often say it that way. So tell your crafty friends to check out happy half sheets, but actually call them happy half sheets, or they'll have a really hard time finding them on the website. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you're excited to see a lot more of this in the future. I think it's a great tool for creating with lots of different stamp sets and things that we have at TE. So I'm sure our design team will be giving them a good workout, and I hope you do too. So have a wonderful 4th of July. So Thursday is the 4th. I'm kind of thinking, did we cancel the live for the 4th? Whitney, you might have to pop in here and tell me. I kind of feel like maybe we aren't having a live on Thursday since it is the 4th of July. I know I'm not doing it, and I know Susan's not doing it, so I just can't remember. I'm pretty sure we do not have a live on the 4th, but I will be here next week and excited to see you guys and share some new things happening next week. Something to, what's the story?
We are closed on the 4th.
Okay.
So we will not be here.
Okay, good. I was right. I said I'm pretty sure we're not doing a live on Thursday.
Yes.
So,
You are correct.
so don't tune in on Thursday. We won't be here, and I hope you enjoy some time doing whatever you're going to do to celebrate. But then do definitely tune in next week. If you haven't had the opportunity yet to see our emails or something on social, then I will be the first to tell you next week we will be launching the pre-order of our Advent calendar. So this is anticipated, highly anticipated every year. We're putting together all the goodies that go inside of this right now, and you are not going to want to miss out. So when this pre-order launches, you have the option to do that, and that's going to guarantee you one of our Advent calendars that we end up opening together during the season of Christmas all through December 1st through the 25th. You get a little crafty gift for yourself, and you get to tune into different lives where I will show you how to use the items. It's going to be great fun. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind for next week. We'll have some other things going on too. So I will definitely see you on Tuesday. Have a great holiday weekend,